Okay, so we actually have nobody on this particular call. I waited until 5 minutes after. I did want to do a recorded demo today because we've made some significant progress since the demonstration that we made yesterday. So I wanted to basically bring that out. And so we've this application already looks very, very different from yesterday. Yesterday's demonstration that we did. Yesterday, now unfortunately the model building workflow and the actual workflow, the model building panel and the workflow building panel are not completely set up yet. However, we've made some pretty big moves, significant moves. So I don't know how much of this is going to work exactly and go exactly as to plan. We'll have to see. I think right now the application settings are set on to, let's go on to let's see if it will switch. It should switch. It didn't. I wonder. Is it the code? So we're going to go to, let's try it on the server side and check whether that is the thing that will cause it to switch. No. So it seems there's a bug that's in there where it's not switching the code base here. I was doing it a little bit earlier today, but maybe since some of the changes that we've been making, we've since messed that portion up. So we've gone ahead and applied another toolbar along the top with some basic functionality in terms of opening a new project, saving a project, reload. It should be the. Let's try it. It might work. No, it's not reloading. What we want when we reload is that this portion here is going to update as well as anything that's over here. We have not gone through the entire process yet of fully integrating the basically these three windows. But we have made some significant progress, which is part of the reason why I wanted to get into today's thing. So now if you wanted the old one, like, so we built it in like kind of a dark scheme. And there's actually, I found this scheme here, which is solarized, and we can actually bring that in into here. But themes are not really like the most important thing at this point. The most important thing at this point is getting the application to the state where we want it. So what I'm actually going to do here is break out of here and then get over into, let's see if I can find the right window for this. What we want to do is get to our repository, and maybe this is part of the reason why it's going to actually bring that up. So this should, no, that's not what we want. Cut that out. And what we want is yes, this one here. We want to run GP run. Now the reason that we want to run this one is because since yesterday we've been able to basically recompile the Chromium browser. So this is going to be a big game changer once the integration of this particular panel takes place inside of the actual application. So like here I'm browsing our site, you know, using an embedded Chromium browser. What we want is we want this particular application to be showing up on these tabs, right? So you're going to have on the UI UX tab here, we're most likely going to start with some form of probably a free Prime Faces distribution that's available for, you know, like under Commons license or similar, MIT license maybe. And then the docs we're going to be generating, the docs are going to be coming in looking sort of like this is how your docs are going to look. The API inspector is going to show up like this. Unfortunately, we don't have the model building portion of it operational yet. However, it's essentially in the code here. It just needs to basically be activated and turned on. So, you know, in addition, we can also bring up like Java docs if it's written in Java. There's different document formats. Like each language sort of has its own documentation format. This case is assembler. We're looking at bringing in assembler as a possible low-level option to bring in. Most likely, probably going to be, I think, on the client side initially, but maybe we'll put we'll see. Now, something we didn't really talk about on the last demo is database, and this is actually kind of a big topic because, you know, building a database off of your schema is often a very complicated process, right? So what we really wanted to do with this application is we want to sort of at the same time that we're going to build out our application. So I'm actually going to have to go and back into my settings here, and then I'm going to select Java, this one. Then we're going to get, now I should be able to open this. Should be able to open this under my code. Should be able to. Doesn't seem to be responding. So we'll have to figure out what's going on with that. Lots of bugs still. Code is constantly under revision. So there's going to be bumps along the way. And I would rather go at this from the perspective of, you know, showing the development on a step-by-step basis so that people can see where we are, what's coming, what's working, what's not working, you know, where things are at, and that they can see the development. Because there's basically like a huge jump between yesterday's demo and today's demo. Now, this whole panel here, once we have this panel inside of here revised, so that we can basically put, if you can imagine, this is not, I'm cheating here, okay? But I'm just gonna show you kind of like how we want this to work, essentially. The schema editor will be by itself, but if you can imagine that we have a tab for schema editor there. Okay, it's not going to actually be in the browser. The schema editor will not be in the browser. It's its own component. But the idea is that you got your API documentation. Okay, it's right on hand. And as you modify your models, this portion is automatically regenerated. Okay. And then as far as the UI UX, I think we may have briefly talked about some of the different options. So in the case, like, I don't know for sure that we're going to go with prime faces. but they seem to have quite a lot of different options and a lot of free options as well. And they're pretty good, right? So we want to have a high quality, like basically set of tools that we can incorporate into that people would actually use. And that's kind of the key thing here. So in addition, we're going to be adding in a help tab off of the help menu here. So you can imagine that we'll probably going to be looking at putting some kind of like a educational section for people that are trying to understand like how to build this type of application or that type of application. They'll be able to, now that we have our own Chromium embedded browser, this is going to be good because we'll be able to have sort of like a video section where you'll either be able to watch demos or focus in on a specific topic, like if you're trying to do a specific thing. Hopefully all of these little bugs that you're seeing here, like when I reload it's not reloading, little things like that, this window here should be like totally integrated, so that if you want to get access to your Swagger integration, you can just go here, try it out, execute against your application, check your look at the response, make sure the response is how you expect it should be. So like in this particular case, it's expecting an HTTPS request, but because we're doing it locally, we're not passing in HTTPS, so that's not going to work. But once we roll out a sort of sandbox, basically this application is going to be available through a RDP session, and it will be set up in such a way so that all of these sort of little details like HTTPS, so on, will be done. And you should be able to actually bring up your domain or host name or IP address. If you want to have like a staging environment. I don't think we're going to be going directly into like a production kind of a mode right away. That's not really in the immediate cards. But the idea that you could deploy this to a staging environment and then work on it and so on, work on your workflows, work on your stuff. Like in this particular case, if we had our login workflow, we're expecting maybe that this is like a drag and drop component. You can maybe adjust the UI UX of it to change the look and feel of it. So if you need to do the types of things that you want to do, you can do it. So this is kind of giving you an idea where we're going with this. I think what we're going to be doing in the next immediate section is this console that's down here. I think we're going to try and maybe copy something like here. I don't know what's happened to my Windows, but let's see, View, Windows. There's my console. Normally there's a console that shows up at the bottom. I don't know where it's gone to now. This is always the thing, right? When you're doing these kinds of things, you always get a million bugs that come out of nowhere. So my navigation bar. I just want my console bar that's not showing up at the bottom editor tabs. I've forgotten where it is. But if I actually let's try this. This is very casual, okay? So we're going to exit out of here. We're going to exit out of the application itself. and then I'm going to cancel that. I'm actually going to exit right out of there, and okay. So this one, I think this is what we want. If there's any feedback, please put it in the comments. But I think, as far as like a console, like like console as to what's going on with regards to your IDE, I think we want it down here. In addition, I think what we're probably interested in doing is putting in sort of almost like an integrated OpenAI, I'll call it OpenAI slash competitor option, where you can sort of type in your commands and it sort of gives you back a response, sort of like an OpenAPI response. People probably are very familiar by now. If they're not, they should definitely get familiar with this, because this is very changing. So I think we'd like to have something like this attached to our to our console, so that the console is not running essentially as like a window like this, that it's going to be basically going to be running along the bottom. The console will be running along the bottom, and we might have a tab here where you'll be able to interact with the content the same way I can interact here, and if I wanted to show me a bubble sort in Java. Here's an example of bubble sort. Okay. So I mean, OpenAI has done like an absolutely amazing idea, job here, and I don't want this to be underestimated, because I can change this around and say, show me a bubble sort in Java using snake case. Let's see if it can figure out how to do that. Oh, okay. Looks like it's doing okay so far. Snake case. Not too many variables that have more than one syllable, so we only had one. So, but the point being really that this is a very, very powerful tool. Show me a bubble sort in snake case in French. Okay. So, I mean, this is the kind of technology that we want to integrate with. We would like our tool to be flexible enough to be able to accommodate this. Now, the licensing around ChatGPT is different than the licensing around some of their other products. So we're still sort of waiting to find out whether or not. But even if we can't, go this way, that's fine, because we have a lot of other options at our disposal, and it's only really going to be a matter of time before there are other options that are in the market that are going to be able to, provide us with that type of solution for what we're ultimately going for here. So, we want to be able to get into a situation where we can deploy an application, have it in a lot of different languages, have it be available immediately, translate it into different languages, like physical English languages as well as different programming languages. We would like it to be working both on the client and the server. So that wraps up the demo for today. We tried to do a 25-minute demo. There was no other attendees, but because we made so much progress in the last little bit here, I wanted to show sort of where we're at, and it looks like for some bizarre reason I've lost my menu at the top. I'm not sure why, so I'll have to look into that. But anyway, that's our demo for today. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat anything or say sell anything or put anything out that show things as it is, and you can continue to follow the progress. I will let you know that at this point in the process, we are using the tool itself, and we are using artificial intelligence to continue to build the tool, and that's part of the reason why there's such rapid progress as compared to, like I say, a normal software development process. Thank you.